bit late, you know. Almost a little bit when you introduced me.
Really?
Say, that bird act is just great, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the reason I was late, you know, the fellow who owns the birds, he said to you that a bird will bite you whenever he feels like it. So I held the bird, and the bird felt like doing something else. So it took me a while, and I'm here.
How are you? It's good to see you again.
I'm fine. Fellow my age.
Yes, the day before, or yesterday, wasn't it?
My birthday.
February the 14th was your birthday.
My birthday, that's right.
Can I tell them how old you were?
Well, the only reason I don't like to tell...
I know you don't.
...is because I always kid about being 39. Well, if I kid about 39, and then I turn around and tell them my right age, 77, it's ridiculous. Don't you think so? I mean, I should... I had the funniest telegram. You know that this is the first time that I can remember telling my age. And I don't mind it sometimes, you know. But I had the funniest telegram from Mel Blanc on my birthday. You know Mel Blanc.
Sure.
And all the wire said was, if I've told you once, I've told you 77 times happy birthday.
That's good.
Say, I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
Johnny, I want to ask you something. Now, I've been on your show, I don't know, would you say 15 times?
Sure.
Something like that.
Sure.
And every time you introduce me, you never know what to say. You know, I've heard you introduce jugglers, acrobats, but me, bird acts, but me, you always say, what can I say about this man? Here he is. Is it because you're in such awe of me, is it? Or you love me so much?
I think that's what it is.
That it?
Remember?
There must be something. Now, I've been in this business for years and years. There must be something. Something you can say.
Well, I think I get embarrassed now. Remember 2 years ago, your 75th birthday party that I emceed at the one of the hotels here in town?
No, but what I mean
and I gave you
is,
such a lavish introduction.
No, you didn't. You didn't. You always say, what can I say about this? Till it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to say the world's greatest comedian.
Right.
You know, even if it were true. Or America's greatest comedian. I don't expect that. You could say one of 5 great comedians. Or one of 3. You know, or maybe one of 2. And you're conceited enough to know who the other one is.
No, I know that.
No, but listen. Once, I got to tell you something. Not long ago, there was a big dinner given to me by the television, Freddie, your producer, no, Television Academy, wasn't it?
That's right.
In fact, your producer ran this show. This is the producer who used to be my director, whom you stole from me.
That's right.
You steal everything from me, my walk,
your walk,
and everything. Although I stole my walk from Loretta Young, so that doesn't make any difference. So that doesn't make any difference. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what this man did to me. It was a big dinner given in my honor by the Television Academy. And it being that I was the honored guest, naturally, I was the last speaker, right? And again, he got up. And he said, ladies and gentlemen, what can I say about this man? All I can say is Jack Benny. So I got up, nice reception, and I talked for about 15, 20 minutes And I must say, Johnny, if you remember, I was in good form that night, wasn't I?
Yes.
I got a lot of big laughs. And when I finished, I sat down, got a nice ovation, I sat down. What do you think this man said? I'm not making this up. What he said right afterwards. With tears in his eyes. Because all the time I was talking, he was looking at me like this. And he said, after I sat down, he said, ladies and gentlemen, wasn't he wonderful? Well, everybody applauded. What can you do? You have to applaud, right? If you say, wasn't he wonderful? Then he said, you know what I was thinking? There were actually tears in his eyes. I was thinking, when Jack Benny, this great man, when he passes away, who's going to take his place? He said that. And he wouldn't stop. He kept going, and the audience was crying. I don't know what. He said, we all must go someday. He says, when this fine comedian leaves us, who will take his place? Well, I didn't know what to say. My wife was sitting next to me. I wanted to kiss her goodbye. And I wanted to say, Mary, please forgive me for all my sins. And I wanted to tell her how much I've loved her for the 44 years that we were married. All he kept saying was, who can take my place? Finally, I hollered at him. Johnny, I said, I'm not going yet. I'm going to play golf tomorrow. Let me play golf tomorrow, you know. And he said he was carried away.
I got carried away.
But all right, so you didn't have to carry me away. And he kept this up and kept, who's going to take my place? Well, I got news for you. Don't ever worry.
No.
Because Flip Wilson can take my place, and your place, and Bob Hope's place, and Buddy Hackett's place, and Jan Murray's place, and Milton Berle's place, and George Burns' place.
We gotta all go.
So you and God get together and save Flip Wilson. That's all right. He'll take everybody's place.
That's funny.
You don't have to worry about it. Imagine worrying who's going to take my... I'm going on for a long time yet.
I know you are. I know you are.
I don't want to die.
I get emotional.
Huh?
I get emotional.
What do you got?
I've got to sell something here.
All right. You want me to take your place in this?
For some people, a cough can be a shattering experience.
Gee, a cough. Now I'm scared.
We're back now. Don't you have a show, is it with Bob coming up, when, tomorrow, or?
Tomorrow. Well, if this show goes...
Yeah, let's
did you
play it
say
tomorrow.
something about being born, or Waukegan?
Not being born, I'm going there for my first trip on the 7th of March.
What are you going to do in Waukegan?
I'm going to entertain a group of people for a company out there, Johnson Motors. Their main headquarters, I think, is there.
You'll like
I'll be
it.
there. Where should I go? Any good spots you can tell me about?
Well, I don't know. It's been so long, you know. I was born in Waukegan, you know.
I know.
Years and years. Years and years.
I thought I might
ago.
drop by the high school,
Years.
junior high, and
Yeah.
take a picture.
You know how long ago I was born? Our rabbi was an Indian. You know? Yeah, go and see my school.
I will.
There's a beautiful school in Waukegan named after me, the Jack Benny Junior High School. And it's really beautiful. And the other two junior high schools are the Thomas Jefferson and the Daniel Webster. Isn't that nice?
I'll go.
Daniel Webster, Jefferson, and Jack Benny.
Good.
That's better than Clayton, Jackson, and Durante. I think so. I mean, it's more important. I love Waukegan.
We're starting to talk about the,
Well, what were we talking
Is it the special tomorrow night that plays when? Wednesday night?
A special. Oh, no, before I forget. Yeah, I must mention this. Now, this show is on tomorrow night.
That's right.
Which means that we're really on now, Wednesday night.
Right.
Well, I got some tickets. No, I'll tell you what happened. Bob Hope and I are running a great big benefit in Santa Monica, see? And I wanted to make sure, because even though it'll be a packed house, there are a few empty seats. Now, this benefit is... No, this is the Los Angeles Music and Art School, and they're for kids, you see, who are studying music and singing, and Bob is also interested in that, and he called me up, and he wanted me to run this benefit with him, you see? And the tickets go up to $100.
Thanks.
Now, there are, I got 6 tickets.
Six.
And if you'd like to take, now, the tickets are nearly sold out, really. You know, it's a big, there are a few empties. That's why I'm plugging it. I want everybody to be there. But these tickets, the big tickets, are $100 a piece. And I got 6 or 4. 4, I think. And if you would like to take 2 tickets, that's still more money than I'm getting here for working, you know.
That's true. That's
so
true.
These are $100 a ticket. You can give them back to me. You can give me the money later if you want it. One for you. Ticket. Want a ticket, Freddie?
Of course.
All right, here.
Floor.
$100. Thank you, Jack. You're welcome.
$100.
$100 a seat. Now, if you want to go, and fine. If you...
Well, in that case,
You
I'll
can
take
bleep
2.
that out.
Yes,
Come on.
sure.
They'll still know what I said.
There's,
I want to tell you something.
There's no price
Now,
on
wait
the
a minute,
tickets,
wait a
Jack.
minute.
There's no
Wait a
price
minute.
on the tickets.
You know what I just said? You know, it's such a shocker, isn't it? And today, with what you see in movies and theater, it isn't shocking anymore.
Even Love Story.
Nothing is shocking. You see nude people. I don't know. It doesn't mean anything. But you can bleep it out tomorrow if you want to. I'll know what I said.
Well, even Love Story.
I'll know what I am. Now, I like to be serious for 1 second. This is a great cause and a great benefit. We're going to have a wonderful show. Glenn Campbell is on it, and a lot of stars. And Bob and I are going to work all the way through the show.
That's this coming Thursday.
And Bob and I are going to work together. The only trouble when Bob and I work together, and he gives me the material, he keeps all the jokes for himself, and he gives me the straight lines, you know?
Right.
I worked like that once with him in the show. He gave me so many straight lines that when I finally got to a joke, I read it like a question. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It does, doesn't it? For people in show business. But anyway, try and come to this big benefit.
Yeah,
it's a worthy cause.
That's this coming Thursday night.
It's
tomorrow
coming
night,
Thursday
actually,
night,
when
which
this
is
is
actually...
February the 18th.
Yes.
Santa Monica Auditorium at 8:30.
Right.
Good cause.
Now, what else do you want to talk about?
Oh, we'll come back. I
All right.
got to do something for Uncle Ben here.
Hey, you'll have fun in Waukegan. It's a live town.
You can go down to Waukegan and watch Hertz rent its car. Here's Ed with a word about Uncle Ben, the race with a difference you can see and taste. We've just been on the show since we've been here, but I have not seen you since, since you were here last, since Tuesday, since the earthquake.
Yeah.
Were you home, I assume?
The earthquake?
Yeah, were you here?
In the morning, and I have felt quakes before, And naturally, if anybody tells you he's not nervous, he's lying, as you know. And I was just lying there in bed, and I didn't know what to think. I thought all I could think of, is this it? Is this going to be the big one, you see? Because then when it was over, it lasted a minute, I think.
Yeah.
Then Mary ran into my bedroom, you know, to see if I was all right. Mary and I have separate bedrooms now. See? Anyway, she ran into my bedroom to see if I was all right, and then we put on robes, and we went downstairs, and then all the help came in. We have foreign help, and the 6 of us just sat downstairs, and we just talked about it. Then we had tea and cookies, like a party. And when I went back to bed, I told the help that I would see him at the next earthquake. I didn't know. I didn't know.
Don't get together with him
we'll
too
get
often.
together for the next earthquake at 6 o'clock in the morning. But I want to tell you, that is a shocking thing. Do you know, I could get even with George Burns for everything he has ever done and said about me, now that you mentioned the earthquake. And I'll tell you what it is. First place, I want to pay him a compliment. And then I'm going to tell you what he did. No, I'll tell you why I want to pay George Burns a great compliment. I saw him on your show, when was it, about 3 nights ago? Was it? About 3 nights ago.
That must have been a repeat.
Yeah.
That was a repeat.
And he's always deprecating himself. He's belittling himself. And he shouldn't, and I'll tell you why. He always tells you that if it weren't for Gracie Allen, he would have been nothing. He'd have been nobody. Now, this is not true. I know George Burns longer and better than anybody in our business. Because even though, and I'll admit, Gracie Allen was one of the great comedians of all time, with the greatest timing I've ever heard. But don't forget, George Burns ran the show. He was the producer. He was a writer. He was a director. He was an editor. He was a great straight man, a great comedian, had to put all this material together in order to make Gracie as funny as she could possibly be. Therefore, as much as I loved Gracie, and as much as I did appreciate her great artistry, I still have to say that George Burns would have still been a big star, would have still found someone to work with, would have still been one of our great, great entertainers in show business. And I mean that sincerely about George.
No doubt.
Because he knows everything. Now I'll tell you. Now I'll tell you the silliest thing. Now I'll go back to how ridiculous he is. How silly. The other day, now this is only a week ago, there were about 6 of us having dinner in a restaurant, and Freddie DeCordova was with us. And we were having a serious conversation. Now, I want to show you what can be in a man's mind. How ridiculous, how silly George Burns can be, and no wonder you have to laugh at him. We were discussing people who have worked for us, you see? And he mentioned a man that used to work for him for years by the name of Charlie Reed. And he's a fellow that worked for George Burns. And it was a serious conversation. Nobody was trying to get laughs. And all of a sudden, I made the mistake of asking a normal question, which you don't dare do in front of George Burns. All I said was, because I hadn't heard from Charlie Reed in a long, long time. And I said, George, didn't Charlie Reed die? And he looked at me for about 4 seconds, and he said, no. Do you want him to? And I said, no. He says, if you want him to, I can call him. He's not doing anything right. He says, I can call him. And he don't shut the, wait a minute, I want to finish this. Let's take a second. He says, I can call him. And right now, if you want him to die, he's not doing anything. Maybe he'll do it for scale. And the next day, he had Charlie Reed call me to tell me that George told him I wanted to talk to him about something. Now, that's the silliest thing I have ever heard of in my life.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I'll tell you the other one about it.
That's wonderful. Some great American homes have one thing in common. Sears' best interior latex paint.
Longwood still stands in Natchez, Mississippi. And every spring, its doors swing open to give visitors a glimpse of a glorious past. When the Civil War broke out, hammers and saws clattered.
In time, the Rockies may crumble, Gibraltar may tumble. They're only made of clay. But our love is here.
Acid indigestion, heartburn, bubbles of gas.
We're back now. You know, we've talked about a lot of things, but we didn't mention your own show coming up, your own special.
Yes, that's one of the reasons I'm here, because I'd like to mention the fact that I have a big special coming on March 10th. I remember my last special was my 20th anniversary show. And my next special, March 10th, which we just finished, is called Everything You Wanted to Know About Jack Benny, But Were Afraid to Ask. And of course, it's taken from that book, Everything You Wanted to Know About Sex, But Were Afraid to Ask.
I ran into you one day in the hotel. I was coming out of the elevator.
Yes.
And I turned around, and there you were with Dr. David Rubin. And I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know whether he was making a house call to come up
No,
to see you.
I was there. I was there because I wanted to ask him a question like, what can a man my age take to... Well, anyway, the special includes Dr. David Rubin, and then let's see in order, I have Phil Harris, and people who know about me, George Burns, Lucille Ball, I have a great singer, Dionne Warwick, and I have John Wayne on the show. Now, that has to be a good show, right?
Just an average
And
cast.
I hope you all get to see it. And we're all talking about me. And we don't talk much about sex, because the three things I don't delve into are politics or religion or sex, because I don't want to get into arguments about any one of them, you know. So we don't discuss that. But everything they wanted to know was how cheap I am, how old I am, and all those jokes.
That's good.
You know.
March 10th.
I'm working very hard, and I also do savings and loan sort of documentary.
I've seen you.
Commercial, so
I've seen
people
you.
will save their money like I do, you know. What else do you want me to talk about?
Well, I'm gonna
Have I
bring
got
up-
time to tell you about George Burns? I don't think so.
Yeah, hold on. Maybe we can do it toward the end of the
Huh?
show. Remember the last time we were out here and they had a dinner for me at the Academy threw me a dinner at the Palladium. You emceed it. And you'd never seen David Steinberg before. You
No.
mentioned that night. And David came out and he really broke it up that night. He was a big hit. And I think you said right afterwards that young man was a lot funnier than I'd hoped.
That's exactly what I said.
But David is a very
He's just wonderful.
inventive writer, comedian, and he is with us tonight. Would you welcome David Steinberg? I think that was the first time that you'd appeared out here on the West Coast, was it not?
That was really exciting. That was exciting because you were both really brilliant that night, and I really enjoyed it. And I had never had that kind of an audience. I never really played to an industry audience. The response was just terrific, and I loved it. Loved every minute of it.
You were great that night.
Yeah, it was fun.
You've been doing concerts, haven't you? College concerts? So
Yeah,
forth and so on?
yeah, that's most of what I do, and that is maybe the most gratifying of anything, because the kids are very open and very responsive and very intelligent. They make you very good, you know. And that's
Can they turn on you also? Can they be rough and things not go well at times?
Well, they're much more open than if an establishment audience will
Right.
turn on you. I had an occasion recently. The last time I was out here was to do that, and that was so exciting and so terrific. Then, in the midst of these college concerts that I was doing, Stanley Kramer called me up and asked me to come down to, it was a tribute to him, in fact, and would I personally come and perform. Now, that's reason enough for me to go, but I really didn't have the time. He said on the dais would be Fred Astaire, Anthony Quinn, Burt Lancaster, Gene Kelly. I said, you got it. No matter what I'm doing, those are the people I idolize. Fred McMurray, Jack Warner. I said, I will be there for sure, just to sit next to them. And and every one of those people is someone that I would like to spend 3 hours sitting next to. They sat me next to Rabbi Kahan, who still thinks I'm there and is probably talking to me. And the other real person, relatively real person, next to the rabbi was Fred McMurray, who has gone to sleep every night at 7 o'clock and doesn't know who Walter Cronkite is, let alone me. Now, that was the first inkling that things were going wrong. Then the audience consisted of, and he hadn't, Stanley Kramer hadn't told me who the audience was going to be. The audience was from B'nai B'rith. They were a group of pill-crazed Hadassah ladies. And they didn't exactly. The response was as if I had sung Springtime for Hitler. They just stared at me, you know. The major mistake I made that night was that I didn't self-park. And I had to wait for my car with this hostile audience. You know, they were all standing around me. I couldn't wait for the car to come. But it's the concept of being with your idols, you know. It never works out. I mean, it never works out for me. Either your idols disappoint you when you meet them,
right,
or I do the wrong thing without wanting to, you know. The first time I was in California, the very first time, it was a long time ago, I was asked out to do the Dean Martin show. It's just a sketch that they had seen me do, and I flew right out. It was very exciting. And I was so excited to be in Hollywood, you know, and at a studio, which I had never been at, let alone to have my own dressing room. And I was walking around in awe of all this, and I walked down to my dressing room, and I thought I had an hour or so, and I was around, so I thought what I'd do is I'd look in the mirror for a while. Nothing much else to do. I make faces or talk to myself or whatever. Well, the mirror was over here. And I came down and I looked in the mirror. And then like in a bee a bad B movie. I saw a body asleep on the couch in back of me. And as I spotted it in the mirror, the body arose. And it got up, and I made eye contact, and it was unmistakable. It was Roy Rogers. Now, well, that is somewhat similar to my response. To me,
I didn't kill it for you.
no. To me, Jack, there are two people. There is William Blake and Roy Rogers. And as a kid, I was so excited to see him, so still staring at him in the mirror, and he just was asleep, and he was kind of startled, and he's still looking at me in the mirror. And I want to communicate with him, and I say to him something I'm sure he's never heard before. I say, "Howdy, Roy." Now, there I am, a college graduate, and I continue. I just say, "How's Dale? How's Trigger?" I don't know how I want so badly to relate. And he says something to me that I think will never, ever be said to me again, and that is this Minnie Pearl's dressing room?
You know what's so funny about that to me? I know William Blake, but who's Roy Rogers? Blake, yeah, William Blake.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Correct you there.
Did I kill something?
No.
Did you talk?
Did you feel that
I'm
you had?
trying to kill something. What? No, go ahead.
I'm finished.
Are you finished?
Yeah. You can usually tell when I'm finished because I stopped talking.
That's it. Comes to an end of thing, he stops, and that's
he
it.
was, didn't I?
Oh, I sent him the whole
Too
tapes
good
of
to
that,
see.
that show
Thank you
that
for
night.
that. The tapes really, all of us are on that tape, and it
Good.
really played back well. It's very exciting.
Good, I'm glad you like them.
You got a great future.
Well, thank you.
Of course, but as Johnny says, I'll be dead by that time, and you'll be coming up.
No, you'll still be
I'll
here.
still be
You'll
living
still be
here.
here,
All right.
yeah.
Then I don't want to see him come up.
All right, let me interrupt for a moment, and we will
I
return.
won't let you interrupt.
Yes, you
for a
will.
moment. I will not.
Now, here's a message
I'm a
from
guest. I'm
Sears
getting
about
hardly
clean
anything.
wash for you and cleaner water for everyone.
15 minutes?
We're back now.
Is that all? How much more we got? About 15 minutes?
Well, yeah, we got a little time here. Lily Tom was going to join us in a few moments. You're talking about now that you're becoming fairly recognizable. You have a little problem disciplining yourself to sit down and write the way you want to?
Well, writing is, in order to write, especially if it's a long thing, a movie or a play, which I occasionally attempt, you must have the discipline, you must have the authority to just cut everything out and write and nothing else. The last time I was out here, I usually go crazy for about 2 or 3 days in California. I chase all the girls like Harpo Marx, with no sophistication, and then I decide it's time, and this happened the last time. I had work to do. I thought, I'll get the books at the library, go back to the hotel, and write. And I'm able to do that. I'm able to just make that kind of decision. I was on Alta Loma, heading towards Santa Monica in my car when I made that decision. I remember it distinctly. By the time I had reached Fairfax, I had seated next to me a young girl hitchhiker. But she had rapped on my window at La Cienega and asked me if I would take her to Cahuenga. And I thought, why not, But I knew I had my work to do, so it didn't affect me in any way. And also, I can almost block out, so, it just doesn't matter. I am driving on, and did I mention that this girl had a face that was so beautiful? She had long red hair, deep green eyes, and soft skin. I mean, a face that would I would give the Mormon Tabernacle Choir something to...
You noticed that through the window?
No, she was sitting next to me.
Oh, I see.
You killed it there, Jack.
Then I'm sorry. No, there's more. I'm sure there's more.
What did I say? Was it the Mormon Tabernacle Choir?
Yeah.
One thing you should never try and do is recoup a line. She was just beautiful. Now, it doesn't matter to me, because I don't, I am Dostoevsky on the way to the library. I have my work to do. Somewhere along Los Feliz, she says to me, "Are you David Steinberg?" I'm dry. Knowing that I am. Possibly mean to her. I still continue to drive. She says, "I just want you to know that I know every word you have ever uttered, and I think you are sensational." Nothing to me, because I had planned to do my work. So, that this girl had a body that would give the Mormon Tabernacle something to really sing about.
I don't quite get it.
But nothing. Still driving on. Then she says to me, "I'm an actress." And I said, "Well, that's it for me. I'm a narcissistic, megalomaniacal actress." And I don't. Literally. And she said, "I've just done one movie, and it's out now. It's a porny. Naked, I fled." I said, "Would you like to have..." Willing to blow it all. Everyone asks me if my story is verbatim, except for the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. Are you listening to me, Jack, or are you just...
Listening to you?
Oh,
I'm looking right at you,
Yeah.
right in your eyes.
I know.
They're beautiful. I'm listening.
No, I was... That was the second time you missed when I was finished.
I never know when he's through, do you?
Yeah, he stops.
He stops, eh?
Stops.
Very unusual.
Yeah.
It's good, though.
Oh, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
You are good.
Got to
Really.
say something here.
You are really good. Now, another rule.
There's a Foster Ranch sunglasses. Ernestine, and a company entitled This Is a Recording. Would you welcome Tomlin? Thought you had your PJs on there for a moment. How are you tonight?
I'm fine. How are you?
You're looking well. Did you bring us a few things here?
Oh, I did bring, some, the last time I was on, not the last time, but another time I was on. What am I doing? Was he looking down?
Oh, what do you mean?
Jack was?
Yes.
No,
Oh,
I was not. Would you like to buy a ticket for $100?
Oh, Jack.
So what would
I'm
you say?
encouraged. Anyway, I see one other time when I was on,
Yes.
I talked about people, wanting to, I talked about pica, people wanting to eat inedible things.
Yes.
And I got of mail from it, and I was later on, if going down, I was going to get to that. But that's what that is.
I see. Pike, isn't that the paint stuff or what?
No, remember you ate your cufflinks? I mean, you were talking about it, about people, those abnormal
yes.
cravings.
Yes, of eating.
And you pretended you had a craving for your...
That's right.
But people do actually have them. But anyway, I did get some responses that were real humorous. as they say.
As they say.
But anyway, so...
You want to read some of them or what?
Well, no, well, I could. I hadn't planned to do
It
that.
doesn't make any difference at all, whatever you want to do.
Well, I'll do it real quickly. I could talk about this. I had this lady, one lady wrote to me, and a lot of people signed their initials because they didn't want me to identify them, I guess. But this one lady said, I love to eat carnations, and if you touch your tongue to rose petals, you get a real weird sensation. Well, I will close for now. I'm not really a kook, but try some of these things. And then another lady liked to smell her dog's paws. Slightly offensive.
The old dog's paws bit.
And this was so cute. Remember I had mentioned I had read an account about a nun biting a heel, the heel of his foot. I mean, the priest had been bathing his feet, and the nun crawled on her. She was overcome with interest, and she was on her hands and knees, and she seized the priest by his ankle and bit him on the heel. Well, this little girl wrote me a letter who's about... Then she and her sister, she had an 8-year-old sister, and she was recounting all these freaky things they like to do, you know, different kinds of things they like to smell and all. And her father was an Episcopal minister, and she said, do you think there's any risk that my sister will want to bite my father's foot? What?
When you're finished, could I have the letter about the lady in the dog's paws?
Yeah. A stamped, self-addressed envelope.
This was in the paper, actually, someone sent to me. This lady likes to eat newspaper, which, but she only eats the edges where there's no print. And she said she only eats it when it's fresh. She never eats yesterday's newspaper. So there's nothing like, she says, there's nothing like the Star Gazette when it's fresh off the press. And she also likes the Sunday Telegram. And she seldom eats the front page because too many people have handled it. Those are the only things.
There are a few dinglings around, aren't there?
Yeah.
Crazy time. Somebody told me, is it true that you have been bothered by a peeping Tom? Is that for real, or is
bothered by a peeping Tom once in my life.
I thought
well, many
it was
times,
recent.
actually.
Yeah.
You were bothered by peeping Toms just now.
Oh, yeah?
A minute ago.
Take it easy.
Did you have a problem at one time? or
One
what?
time I did. Well, I had moved. It was in New York. I mean, everything happens to you in New York, but I had moved to an apartment. Lived on 5th Street, and I was on the ground floor and everything. And one day I was watching television. I heard this noise, and I peeped around the edge, and I saw this big arm coming in the window. See, my window was by my purse was on the sink, and this arm came in the window with a big stick, and it was trying to drag my purse out.